Good morning, everyone. It is Brenda here for Stamplicity, and welcome to Fun Friday. All right, we're gonna have some lawn fawn fun. And I was supposed to do this last week, but it did not happen, so we're gonna do it this week. This is based on the fall release from Lawn Fawn. We're gonna work with a couple of the different stamp sets and show you a cute little interactive card. Both of these are gonna have a Halloween kind of feel to them. And we're gonna make two cards. All right, so we're gonna be focusing on the stamp sets, stamp dies, and coloring stencils. All right, I really like the coloring stencils because it's perfect coloring all the time, and it's just a quick way to color. So we're gonna be using the Hocus Pocus set, which is these cute little cats. I don't have this set here with me, but it's the cute little Halloween cats. All right, so I do have them. I'm just going to, so we got that little guy, and we're going to use a little one with a cauldron and some of the matching stuff that's in the set. We're also going to be using the add-on for that set, which is a cute little set because it had this cute little stacked book we're going to use. All right. And then we're also going to use the I Like Cute Moss. So back in the day, a few releases ago, Lawn Fawn released I Like Big Butterflies. And this one is the I Like Cute Moss. And it really works with Halloween and fall. They are cute. I don't think moths are cute at all, but the Lawn Fawn ones are. So we're going to be using them. So I've already taken the liberty of, stamping and die cutting my elements here just to make things a little bit quicker. I am going to show all the coloring on video, on camera, and let's go ahead and create. All right, so I am going to make one of these an interactive. We're going to be using the little spinners, and we have our own brand spinners at Stamplicity, as well as I think we still have the Spellbinders ones as well. They're both kind of, they work the same. They're the brass spinners, so you can check them out on the website. I'm not sure if the Spellbinders are in stock, but I know our brand is. All right, so all right, so let's just switch the camera around here, and there we go. And let's get started. All right, so let's work on coloring first. All right, let's get all our elements colored. We'll work on backgrounds, and then we'll put everything together. All right, so I'm just going to grab all my little pieces here. All right, so I cut out I did 3 moss. All right, so and what else do I need? All right, and then from the cats, I have 2 stacked books here. I've got the little kitty cat with the cauldron, the little kitty cat sitting on a book, and then I stamped a little chat bubble that says Hocus Pocus. And then, oh, I forgot. This is like Lawn Fawn does all the things, right? So this is all the witch hats. And we're going to be putting a little hat on this little guy here. All right. So um kept it simple, not a whole lot going on here. We're going to add some die cuts from I just want to from some of the other elements from Lawn Fawn. But let's go ahead and color. So the set that I have here was a demo set from Lawn Fawn, and that's why I don't have the actual stamp sets here. So this layering stencil that I have here is a custom made one just for me for my custom stamp set. They do these demo sets for us retailers so that we can do samples like this and not open a whole package of all the stamps. All right, so that is why I'm limited on what I have here and why I don't have the stamp sets here. So my coloring stencils are going to be based on my demo set. When you get a coloring stencil for these sets, you will have this coloring stencils for all the things in that. All right, so okay, so we're going to start with the little kitty cat here. Now I'm working on my grip mat. This is just going to hold my die cuts in place while I stencil. So this one here is going to be the top of it is going to be all the ones for the cauldron. All right, and then we will do the one that's on the book. All right, so it's just a quick layering guide. You're just going to layer it up, and it layers up so nicely. So this is going to color the cat. Now I did not pick color choices here. I have inks everywhere on here, so we're just going to go with what I have here, and just do our things. All right. So I'm using with Distress inks, and we're going to color this little guy just a soft gray. I'm using Hickory Smoke. All right. So I'm going really light. I don't want this too dark because we need to put some of the elements on him, like his little nose, although we could do his little nose black. All right, so perfect coloring. This is what I love about the stencils. All right, so now we're gonna just line up his little nose, and I'm just gonna do this in black soot. So we're gonna give him a little black nose. Okay. All right, so there we go. And now we're gonna work on his hat. And I'm just gonna use the black soot that is on my brush here. And this one I'm going to go fairly dark because we want that a deep color. All right, so we can see perfect coloring. And I'm just going to keep on moving on here. All right, then we're going to do his little trim on his hat. And let's do that in, let's do green. So I'm just going to grab my Twisted Citron. And let's do that. And then we're going to move to the buckle. And that one I'm going to use yellow. So I'm going to use mustard seed for that. Sorry, I dropped an ink there, so I needed to pick that up. Okay, so there we go. And then the next is going to be his little cauldron. All right, so we're going to put that over top. And I probably have enough black ink or gray ink on my brush to do this. So I do. Look at that. All right. Now, if you wanted to add a little shading, you can. So I'm just going to pick up some black soot and let's just go a little bit darker on the bottom and then that kind of the top trim there. All right, so I've added a little bit of shading on there, all right, so you can see that. All right, then lastly, we have the little bubbles from his cauldron. So, like the Lawn Fawn, these just match up so beautifully. They really just, if you're not a color, ooh, my camera just fell down. Let's just fix that. Sorry if I made you dizzy there. All right, I think we're good now. My arm just loosened, I guess, with all the shaking from the inking. All right, so there's that. And then we've got the other little elements on here, and I'm going to do them in green. Again, I'm not going to worry about picking up any more ink. There's enough ink on my brushes to do that. All right, so let me just pick that up. And he is perfectly colored. How sweet is that? So if you're a colorer, no worries. You can use your markers, pencil crayons, whatever. If you, to each their own. I love using my alcohol ink markers, but I also love using these coloring stencils. All right. So like I said, it's perfect coloring all the time. Okay, so we're gonna go and do this little cat. Now I'm gonna move a little bit quicker here just because you've seen me do that. And I have quite a few things to color here. So again, we're gonna make him a little gray cat here. And I'm just using whatever ink is on my brush here. I picked up a little bit like leftover from the cauldron. All right, so there is that. Then his little nose. And again, we're going to make that. I'm just going to pick up some black because I really want to. There we go. Okay, this one also has the spell book there. And I think I'm going to go in with a little bit of green. All right. So again, I'm just using the brush. I'm not re-inking. I'm just using whatever ink is on my brush because it's such a small area. Okay, so there is the spell book. All right, we've got the little handle for his little magical wand. I'm going to do that in a brown. Do I have a brown out here? No. All right. So we're just going to grab my first brown on my pile here, which is Rusty Hinge. And then we've got the little star. And again, we'll just use what is on my brush here. All right, and then we've just got the little trim on the books. I know you can't really see that because the camera's not close enough, but it is there. All right, and let's go ahead with, I'm going to go with the blue, which is Chipped Sapphire. Okay, so let's bring that little guy up. All right, and he is perfectly colored. Love that. All right, so our kitty cats are done. Let's do the witch's hat because it's here. This is a really quick and simple one. Again, I'm just going to use whatever's left on my brushes. So let's do this. Actually, I might pick up a little bit of black just to make it really black. All right, and then we'll do the little buckle. I'm going to change the color up. I'm going to go with Chipped Sapphire on the little band. And then the buckle, we will do yellow. Okay, so witch's hat is done. All right, so let's put that to the side there. All right, let's do our little books here, our stacked books. And they are on here. This is just a 2, so we're going to do the pages and the inside. So I'm going to do them, I'm going to start with yellow and then add a little brown, just so that they look a little aged. And I'm going to do that for both of them. Actually, this one here, I'm going to add yellow and then a little gray, just so that they don't look the same. All right, and then the outsides of them, which are going to be the covers. Let's do a Chipped Sapphire. And then let's do the other one purple. I think I use the same, there we go. Okay, books are done. And now we just have our moths. So let's do our moths really, really quickly. All right, so it's this one first. So we're gonna, I don't even know what color moths are. This is gonna be interesting. Okay, so let's start. I'm gonna do his body kind of brown. So we're gonna use that Rusty Hinge. And maybe add a little bit of gray. Okay, I like that. All right, then his little ears. And we're going to do them gray. The moths aren't very bright. The butterflies are bright. Moths are more neutral color. Okay, and now we're going to do his little wings. So we have the little moons. So we want to keep this light. So I think I'm going to go with that Twisted Citron. Let's add a little bit of brightness to our moth. All right, and then we've got our trims. And for this one here, I'm going to go with the blue. Oh, he's cute. He's cute. All right, now let's do the little trims on him. So the little moons and the little dots, we're going to do yellow. Now this one here, I really want to be yellow. So I'm really going to ink up my brush. All right, let's take a look. All right, there's my little moth. He's cute. He's cute. All right, now we've got the other two. Now these ones are the same, so I can use the stencil at the same time. So we're going to change this one up a little bit. This one here, I'm going to do their bodies yellow. And then maybe add a little bit of that brown. Okay, and I'm going to do both the same. So you can see if you're doing multiples of a design, it's really quick and easy because you can just use the stencil and just keep on layering it on, and just kind of have a little process going. Okay, now his little ears, and I'm going to do these ones in the brown. All right, then his wings. All right, so these ones here for his wings, I'm going to do these in the purple. No, the blue. I'm going to do the blue. Okay, and now we've got the little inside. This one's quite the detailed moth. All right, this one here I'm going to do in the green. Let's add a little bit of that twisted citron. And then to clean your stencils, you're just going to run these out of under water, or you can use a baby wipe, a wet cloth. Because I'm using Distress inks, they are water-based, so they're going to clean up really, really nicely. All right, now we just got the details. Now the details I'm going to do in a dark purple. So I'm really going to ink up my brush for this. And the last one is just the other little details on here. So we're just going to line them up. Again, I'm just going to do them in purple and use whatever is on my brush here. Oh, maybe not. Maybe I need to re-ink. Okay, they are done. All right, so hooray, hooray. Let me just tidy up just a few of these inks. Put the stencils to the side, and I'm going to show you one of my little moths here so you can see the coloring. All right, oh, there we go, on camera. All right, so there we go. We got all the coloring done. Now we can start having fun. All right, let's create our backgrounds. Now we have all our little elements here. And I'm just going to put them in my little tray here. And now let's work on the backgrounds. All right, so for the little kitty cats, I'm going to do a blended background on here. So we're going to do kind of, what do I want to do on this one? I have a purple background. I'm going to use one of the new pattern papers from the release. This is, what is it called? It is called Stripes and Sprinkles from the Autumn collection. It comes in all the colors. It's gray, purple, there's a red, there's a green, a blue. It's going to be, we're good for fall and Halloween. So I chose this one here, which has got stripes and then polka dots on the back. But this is going to be our background. Then we're going to layer this on. So we're going to create a nice kind of blended background in purples. So I'm going to start with Seedless Preserves. All right, so I'm going to start in a rotating motion on the one edge. And I'm using a bigger brush for this because I like using the bigger brushes for background blending. All right. These are the Pink Fresh ones. These are my favorite. And the ones I use for backgrounds all the time. Okay, now I'm going to go into my next color, which is Wilted Violet. So I'm going to pick up some of that. And now I'm going to kind of go down that center and overlap a little bit of that Seedless Preserves to do a blend. Okay. So I kind of did the first third, now I'm doing the second third, and then we'll follow up with another color at the bottom, okay? So you'll notice I'm doing counterclockwise and then clockwise just to help with that blend. All right, so we've got those two colors there. And then let's go in with black soot now. All right, so now I'm going to do that bottom third. And again, I am going to kind of overlap. All right. Now, if you want to help with that blend, all right, because I don't know, like, I see that, I can see the line kind of. I'm just going to go back to Wilted Violet and add more of that over top and help with that blend. All right. So, okay. And then I'm just going to go back in with my seedless preserves on the top here. And then I think I am happy with that background now. Okay. So there is that. Now we're going to add our little elements on here. I am going to speckle this with gold, all right? So I'm going to use a splatter. And this is from Spellbinders. It's the Gold Rush. And this is a brand new bottle. I found in my stash, and I'm like, I need to use this more often. Normally I use my watercolor for gold, but I know although so many of you like this product, so I thought I have it. I might as well use it, right? Okay, so this, you want to give it a good shake. You don't have to worry about this. It's not a spray. All right. So normally we tell you if it's a spray, you want to go back and forth. This is not a spray. It looks like a nail polish. All right. So you can give this a good shake. Make sure there's no sediments at the bottom here. And then you can open this up. And then people like this because they have more control because it's a paint, it's like a nail polish. All right. So you can just tap the lid and you're going to get a nice splatter that doesn't go all over the place. And it's quite sparkly. I'm going to bring this up to the camera so you can kind of see. It holds its color really, really nicely. All right. So we're just going to let that dry and I'm going to clean up my mess here. And we're going to move on to our other background for our other card. And then we'll start assembling. Okay, so for the moth card, I have, and I forget the name of this one. I cut a panel from the same paper, from the Stripes and Sprinkles Autumn, but in that purple. But we're gonna use a polka dot. And then we have this die set, and this die set is called the Spooky Forest Backdrop. And I love this die because you can, I mean, it came out as part of a Halloween release in a past release. But I love it. It does come with all the Halloween, like tombstones, the owl, a little ghost. Comes with grass, a moon, rocks as well, which are not in here because I'm using them. That's why. There's the little grass, and there is the little moon. I love the little stitch design on them. But this is the backdrop. And even though it's called Spooky Forest Backdrop, you're going to be able to use this in the winter time because it's a bare tree. All right. So depending on how you use it in terms of what elements you're using with it will change the look of this. All right. Now I'm using it as a spooky forest backdrop, but I have seen this. All right. It looks like um, our Facebook view on Facebook. Our Facebook is giving me some issues. All right. So if you're with us still on Facebook, then let me know. I just got a message. Something is going on with my streaming service, but it looks like we're still on YouTube. So we're going to continue on. Yeah. I'm not sure what's going on. I'll upload this again if it does not go through on Facebook. I just got a message on my computer screen, so it looks like they're having issues, and I was having issues the other night as well. So all right, so I'll just continue on. You can find us on YouTube. And then I'll upload this again. So, all right. So spooky forest backdrop. All right. Depending on how you use it and the elements you use it, you can change the look of it. All right. So you could definitely use this in the springtime, add florals and leaves to it to create kind of a blossoming look. In the fall, you could actually add little colored leaves on there to create a fall look with some little leaves at the bottom. In the wintertime, you can leave it as bare trees. All right. So I think it's a really fun backdrop that I think you'll use a lot, especially if you're a lawn fawn person. I think you'll use it a lot. Okay. So I cut that out of just brown cardstock, but of course we want to dirty it up, as I always say, dirty it up. All right. So I just want to have it a little bit deeper in tones. And so I'm going to use a Distress Ink Scorched Timber because that's a nice dark brown, and just do a little shading on here. Okay, so. Oh goodness, what is going on? All right. My computer screen just went blank. Oh my gosh. Okay. So I am just going to add, and this is quite the dark black, dark brown. It's almost like black, so it's going to give us that great kind of Halloween feel. So I'm just going to go around the edges. Now, my scorched timber is one of those colors I never use, so it's really nice and saturated with ink, so it's going on nice and strong. All right, so I'm just doing the outside of that and just really deepening that up. All right, so that is done. Let's clean this up. All right. Okay, so now we're going to go on the backdrop, and that is the polka dot side, and we're just going to make this into almost a nighttime sky. All right, so I'm going to use purples, I'm going to use blues, and I'm going to use blacks. And I think I'm going to do Seedless Preserves, Chipped Sapphire, and then move on to Black Soot. All right, so the Seedless Preserves is going to be our lighter color. So that's the color I kind of want at the bottom. So I'm just going to start with a blend, and it really matches the paper. I'm just deepening it just a little bit. And yes, you can do a blend over top pattern paper. Why not, right? So I'm going to bring that up almost halfway. All right. And then I'm going to go in with Chipped Sapphire. All right. And I'm going to go kind of in that middle part. And then I'm going to add that Black Soot. I like the fact that the polka dots are still shining through. All right, but now we've got that kind of gradation. It doesn't look so great on camera. I'll bring it up a little bit closer because it looks really just like a big blob of color, but it is quite nice. All right, and I'm just going back and just adding and just helping with that blend. Okay, I'm happy with that. All right, so let me just bring that out to the camera so you can kind of see the darker, light to dark kind of on there. All right, gonna put that to the side. Let's clean this up. And now I did cut out a few elements. I've got that crescent moon from the Spooky Forest backdrop. I did cut that out of yellow cardstock and some grasses, and I just want to ink them and give them a little bit of shading. So I'm going to grab that little moon, and I'm going to just grab my fossilized amber here, and we're just going to just kind of just give it a little shading at the top there. All right, so we've got that. And then my little grasses. Now, I don't know if I'm going to use these, but I do want to give them just a little bit of shading because we've shaded everything else. They're just going to look a little weird if we don't shade them, in my opinion anyways. So I'm just going to place these, and we're just going to do a little bit of shading at the bottoms of them. And I don't know if I'm using all of these. I might have cut too many, but it's okay. Okay, I'm going to go into darker green because I don't think Twisted Citron is the green that I have is going to be the green I really want. So I'm going to go with peeled paint. And I'm just going to brush some of that color up over it. Kind of a streaky on some of them. All right, perfect. All right, now we are ready to go. Let me just get these in a little tray here. And let's put all the things together now. You saw the processes. Now let's do the finished result. So let me just move my mat here. Okay, we're going to go back to the first one. I'm going to allow my ink to dry on here. We're going to go on this one here, which is going to be the little cats. And this is going to get put on here. So we're going to, again, just to recap, this is from the Stripes and Sprinkles Autumn Collection, the 12 by 12, and I just cut it down to 4¼ by 5½. Then I took a piece of white cardstock, cut that 4 by 5¼ and did an ink blend, and we splattered with gold. All right, we're just going to layer this on top. Just frame it in. Actually, I might have cut that inside panel a little bit smaller just because I wanted more of that stripe to show through. So I think it was 3¾ by 5. All right, sorry, I gave you the wrong measurement there, but all right, so there is that. All right, and then I cut out, this is from the new fall collection, the Hocus Pocus, and I cut it out of gold glitter and then black. And what I'm going to do, I don't want the gold on top. I think it's going to be a little too much on there. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to lay the black over top of the gold and offset it. So we're just getting a hint of that gold. All right, so we're going to get that. So now because I'm gluing onto glitter paper, it's going to take a few seconds to grab because of the glitter. So I'm just going to put a nice layer of glue, fine lines of glue on here, and then I'm going to offset it, and then I'm going to put something over top of it just to help bond it together and make sure it sticks. All right, so we're just going to offset this. Okay, and I'm going to grab my magnet here. Okay, no, I'm not. I'm just going to grab one of my magnet trays here. All right, and I'm just going to place it over top just to make sure everything is pushed down. All right, so while that is drying, let's get our little guys out. All right, so this is going to be our little kitty cats. So the books, the cats, and the witch's hat. Okay. Okay, so let's build up our little cluster of books here. So I'm just going to start with one of them, and we are going to place that down. Then I'm going to grab the second one, and we're going to glue that one, but we're going to offset it to one of the sides. All right, so let's go here. So they're not all stacked perfectly. And then we'll put our little guy on top. All right, super cute. And you could pop these up if you wanted to. All right, and before I put this guy on, let's get our Hocus Pocus. Now that should set nicely. And that little hint of gold is just, oh, I should have, uh-oh. Oh no. Okay, I should have put this on first. All right, let's get this on first. Oh my gosh. Almost didn't fit on there. Oh, silly me. Yeah, you should always put the main like big element on first so you know your spacing is going to be okay. All right, hocus pocus. We're gonna put this at an angle here. All right, now I have to be strategic here. I think we're okay. Okay, I might pop dot now just because well, it's got a layer over top of that hocus pocus. So strips come in handy. And we want to cover up all my little whoopsies where the glue started drying and now has ruined my background, but no worries. We will cover it. All right. Okay, let's do this again. All right, so let's start with the one book, and this one book is definitely going over my little whoopsie here. And then our second book is going to do the same thing. All right, and then our kitty cat. And we're going to offset it to the one side. See, no one's going to know we had that whoopsie there. All right, so look how cute that is. All right, oh, we got to put the little witch's hat on. Almost forgot. So I'm just going to put the pop dot where it needs to be and then place my hat. And I think I want to put it at a bit of an angle. All right, how cute. All right, and then this other little guy we're going to have kind of just below. And I'm going to put this guy flat so we have some textural elements on there. And then that card is done. I mean, these are just the little extra elements. The background adds to it, the big flashy title adds to it, and then that one is done. All right, super cute. All right, let's go to the other one where we're going to put the interactive element on there. So let's grab our inked background, our spooky forest backdrop, and let's put them together. Now, I think I'm going to pop this over on top of it. All right, that's just going to give it some lovely dimension. These backdrops from Lawn Fawn are awesome because you can make shaker cards with them. All right, they give you enough room to put your acetate in there, and you have enough room for adhesive strips and such. So these are really, all their backdrops are awesome. I gotta say, they're very well thought out. Okay, now I am going to put some additional foam adhesive just on the branches so they don't have a sinking feeling. Actually, you know what? I'm going to use strips on this. And that's just going to help hold those little branches up. Sometimes it's the little things that just help with all the little details. And adding just a few more pieces of foam is a little thing. So, okay. So let's go ahead, remove all the backings. That's the only problem though. When you put extra adhesive on there, it's just, now you got extra backings to take off. Okay. And now I'm going to stand up so I can get this line. Actually, you know what? I'm going to do it this way. So my black is going to go up. Now I cut this panel just slightly smaller so that I would have no chance of it overhanging. All right, take a look. It's really dark on camera. Let me pull that up. All right, so really great nighttime feel to this. Okay, let's grab our little moon. And we're going to put that kind of tucked behind those branches there. So I'm going to go ahead and adhere that on, and this is going to go down flat. That's a nice thing. You can kind of tuck it underneath those branches. So it's just kind of coming through the limbs there. Okay, let's grab our little moss. And I will probably add stickles to these as well because I just think they're really, really fun. All right, so we have two that are the same and then one that is different. So the one that is different is going to be kind of in the center, and that is the one I want spinning. So we want to make sure we have enough room for it to spin. The other ones I'm going to kind of arrange. All right, so he's going to be the spinner, and you know what? I think I might only just do the two moss, and then I'm going to do a little stamp sentiment here. That is what I'm going to do. So let's see what kind of sentiments I have on this one, because I forgot. Wishing you a perfect day. No, that's not. Having me fall into autumn. Thank you, very moth. I guess it's going to be thank you, very moth, because that's what I have. Now, I probably should have stamped this before I put all the frame on, but we're going to just work with it. So I'm going to grab my stamping platform. And I should be still okay. So we're going to put this near the bottom. Okay, so that looks straight to me. All right, let's go with it. Okay, I'm just gonna go grab, my VersaFine Clair because I know that is going to work very well on this dark background. Yeah, perfect. So I'm just gonna do it a few times just to deepen up that black. And one more. Okay. Lovely. Let's put that to the side. I'll take off my stamps in a bit. All right, so we've got this guy's going to be on a spinner. And we're just going to do one guy. And, you know, maybe I'll use the other one to go in inside the card. All right, so I'm happy with that. I'm going to have that little moth overlapping that moon a little bit. So he's going to go down flat. And kind of in behind the limbs there. And then this guy, we're going to put a spinner. So I'm going to grab one of the spinners. Now with these spinners, you're going to want some glue dots to go with them. All right. So let me just grab. All right. So I'm just going to grab a glue dot here. And we're going to put one. Actually, I'll do the one on the base, which is the larger. And we're going to put that right there. Okay, I'm going to grab another glue dot. And now we're going to position this on the top piece. And the glue dots I'm using are the micro, which seem to be a good size to fit on the smaller part of this. And then we're going to just place our little moth in the center of that. And now he is going to spin. Oh, he's really spinning. I love these little spinners. All right, so a fun little interactive element on there. Oh, he is hanging upside down on here. I should have raised him up a little bit. That's okay. But super fun. All right. And now let's add just a little bit of stickles on here just to make them sparkly. All right. So I have diamond clear sparkles here. And let's add on the little elements here, the little dots on his wings, we're going to add just a dot of sparkle. And on this guy here, we're going to put it on the moon. And these little dots on his bottom wings. All right, and that just adds a little sparkle and shine on there when that dries. And there is that. Oh my gosh, so cute, right? All right, let's bring out both. Oh, I forgot the grass. Let's put some grass on here. All right. Yeah, let's put some grass. It just brings in a little bit of green, another color. So some of these I'm going to put on the inside, and some of them I'm going to put on the outside of the frame. Oops. Okay, so I put the darker ones on the inside of the frame, and then these lighter ones, I'll put a few on the front of the frame. And maybe one more. Okay. This one popped up. All right, now we are officially done. Yeah, I like the little green on the bottom there. All right, so there is that little one, and then we'll bring the cats in, and there is our second card here with the cats. So this again is the I Like Cute Moss and the forest backdrop, and then this is the Hocus Pocus stamp set, and then we've used the Hocus Pocus as well. And I forgot there was a speech bubble. Where did my speech bubble go? Huh, I had a speech bubble. Uh-oh. Anyways, I had a speech bubble for the cats, and I'm not sure what happened to it. So anyways, doesn't matter because it's gone and my cards are complete. So if I do find it, I'll add it on. If not, I'm not going to worry about it. So, but there is today's Fun Friday with a little bit of lawn fawn fun. All right. Thanks everyone for joining us. I apologize of the mishap on Facebook. I'm not sure what happened there, but I will upload the video so you can watch it. It's in its entirety. All right. So thanks everyone for joining us. Have a great Friday and we'll talk to you soon.